My name is Ipsit Vahia. I'm a geriatric psychiatrist by trade and a proud mentee and protege of Carl. Uh, I'm speaking at Kate's request, so I will serve as the MC tonight, and my primary goal is to make it through everything without choking up. So I wouldn't bet on me, but we shall see. Uh, Kate asked me to share some housekeeping for the evening. She asks that everyone please eat. Appetizers will be passed around, but there is food on the tables in both rooms. So please eat, and once the speeches are done, the bar and the food will stay open. She also says that anyone that wants to wear a mask should please feel free to do so. There are some masks at the back of the room. The bar will be open till 7 o'clock, so plenty of time. There are two signing books. There's one of them is on the table with masks, and the other one is being passed around. So we would love for you to take the time and write down your thoughts and memories of Carl. And at the end, on your way out, there are cookies near the door, so please feel free to take some. As we go through the evening, several people are going to speak. I want to start us off. I'm going to be standing here because there's a Zoom where Carl's family is watching the evening. So this is not intended to be a stage, but we want to make sure everyone is able to see and hear. Carl's grandson, Max, would like to speak first. So I'm going to give him the mic.
So, alright, so he was a good grandfather. He didn't deserve to die.
I don't know if anyone needs to say anything further on this. I do want to just take a minute to acknowledge Carl's family and thank them for bringing us all together. Kate, thank you for getting us all here. I mean, this place is quintessentially Carl Cohen for everyone that knew him. And I believe it has history. Kate and Carl had a pre-wedding dinner here back in the day, so this is not just another wedding. I also want to acknowledge Carl's daughter Sarah and his son Zach, his children-in-law Ian and Rona, and his grandchildren Miles, Libby, and Max. And I want to thank Carl's sister Betty and Carl's nieces Stephanie and Lana for helping put together this evening. This is a wide gathering of people from a number of different walks of Carl's life. Many of us don't know each other, so I'm going to ask that we all take a moment to pause, take about 15 seconds to think about Carl, your favorite memories of him. Take a moment after over the evening to share your memories with the people that are here that knew him and loved him. And I think this is a chance for us to celebrate, but also reflect on something we all agree on, which is it's way too soon for us to be having this gathering. Take a moment to reflect, 15 seconds. I'll keep the time. Thank you. Please be sure to connect with those around and in the room before you head out. I know a lot of people are stopping by, but do take a moment. I'm also honored to be the first one speaking about Carl today. Um, I don't really know where to start, so I'll start at the beginning of how I met Carl. Um, I was a young, fairly clueless medical graduate from India. I found my way to Brooklyn, New York one evening one morning in December 2001 to interview for a psychiatry position. It went okay. I happened to say something about I'm interested in aging. So Ellen Berkowitz, who is here, suggested that I meet the chief of geriatric psychiatry. So I met Carl, who was, quintessentially Carl. He's like, yeah, you should come. I did. Six months later, when we started residency, I sought him out. I was at that point, it was safe to say, a no one. In that I just moved, new immigrant, excited, enthusiastic, didn't know very much, but was motivated. What Carl would consider fertile territory. I told him I was interested in aging. Now, this was not I've been thinking about Alzheimer's disease, I understand what I want to do, this is going to be my life's work. It was more this feels kind of cool, I think I'm sort of interested in learning more kind of way. Carl took that, as he did with so many of us. I speak not just for myself, but for a legion of his mentees this evening, where he took a little enthusiasm, nurtured it, fertilized it, fueled it, and turned it into marvelous things. Not lost on me was the irony today where on my way here in the train, I did some paperwork for what will hopefully be a fairly important position in the Harvard ecosystem, and what a way to do that paperwork while traveling to pay tribute for the man without whom it would not have been possible. He taught me how to write my first paper. He taught me how to talk to an older adult with dementia. He taught me what data was. He taught me how to give a talk. He actually taught me where to hold a microphone so you don't get feedback. So, your ears are welcome. He taught me how to prepare a poster. He taught me how to be a liberal. For those that knew Carl, that is a very specific thing. He taught me how to be a New Yorker. He taught me how to be empathic in a true way, not lip service, but go to the Bowery and talk to people, take care of their feet, give them clothes kind of way. There was a time at the end of my residency when I loved Brooklyn, I loved New York, I would have been perfectly content staying, becoming his fellow, and then he did the thing. And the thing was, when I said, I'm just going to stay here, maybe I can follow in your footsteps, and Carl said, no. You need to leave, you need to find the bigger center, you need the higher level of training from what I can give you, you need to fly. I still can't fathom really how mind-blowing that was. That at the time when he could have sort of lined it all up, he said, no, go. We've stayed in touch ever since. I went to UC San Diego. We did some work together. I had him come down. He seemed to really like this one sushi restaurant that didn't make the top 10 list of San Diego's best sushi restaurants, but he insisted I take him there anyway. I did not judge him. Several years later, I had an opportunity. So, what happened in Brooklyn basically happened again, where at this point we're used to the San Diego life, sunny, 70 degrees and sunny every day, nice job. An opportunity came from Harvard, and It's one of those things you have to listen to, even though I quite liked my Ocean View office. And I told Carl what the opportunity was, and what should I do, Carl? And he sort of hears me out, and I lay out the whole process, and he says in the way that only Carl can, where I'm still not hearing from you a good reason why you're not going to move. I'm like, but it's nice here. He's like, you don't make career decisions based on weather and beaches. So I moved to Boston. It's gone well. Carl sort of settled into the comfortable role of being that mentor who you talk to about the things you can't talk to your boss about. I last spoke to him after I gave grand rounds, ironically, at SUNY Downstate about a month ago. I've given talks there a few times. I always pay tribute to him. I always end with the story of Carl came to my wedding, which matters because my wedding was in Mumbai, India. And we had a big fat Indian wedding, 8 days, 3,000 people. Carl was in the thick of it all. The man could dance a garba. I mean, you wouldn't expect it, but I have video evidence of him doing Indian dance with my mother of all people. And then he went up north. Kate remembers this. When he came by, I asked him, I was like, Carl, what did you think of the Taj Mahal? He's like, oh, I didn't go to the Taj Mahal. I'm like, why? He's like, we were staying in a nice hotel, used to be a palace, there was no need. Which boggled my mind, and yet it's so quintessentially Carl. Carl was not seduced by glamour. Carl did not, he liked good things, but he didn't chase them. He knew what he wanted. He was true and authentic in a way that's really not common, and it's taken me 2 decades of knowing him to appreciate that. But I'm going to end with a slightly different story. This is a story that I share on behalf of one of our other colleagues, someone that was to become his fellow, and Carl did it again 2 decades later, where he said, if you're going to go to Boston. He sent him to me. I was happy because geriatric psychiatrists are rare, and basically one fell out of the sky into my lap. Saeed Hashem is his name. Some of you know him. He's from Egypt. I speak on his behalf. He wanted to be here tonight, but he could not. But we speak as two mentees whose lives were irrevocably altered by Carl's generosity. In Saeed's case, it was one email saying, talk to this guy, and he did, and he's at McLean now. Saeed put it well. He said, it took one email from the man to send me to Harvard. I said, I know the feeling. That was Carl. The kind of person that would take people with really nothing but what he saw as raw potential and send them to the stars. I don't know how you fill that void. Thank you.
People don't know me. I'm Carl's younger sister, Betty Cohen Gross. Carl was 9 years older than me. And according to my late parents, Carl was such an active, rambunctious child, a handful, that they decided not to have any more children, kind of like one and done. But luckily, Carl matured. He excelled at school, helped out with household chores, made many friends, and hence my parents felt he would benefit from having a sibling. So then I came in 1956. Even though I was 9 years Carl's junior, he truly enjoyed having a younger sister, although he did tease me quite frequently. But Carl was an outstanding and devoted big brother. In the early 1960s, when we used to have a lot of snow, Carl would take me all through our community, which was Seagate, many of you might know it, in a wooden sled throughout the streets, and boy, how I loved it, and would always pray for some more snow. Then in my early years, Carl would take me, I don't know, some of the friends are here, to the Tuesday night fireworks in Coney Island on the boardwalk to watch the fireworks with his friends Gary, Jay, Jimmy, Norman. He was 14. I was just 5. Let me ask you, what teenager today would take their 9-year-old younger sibling to watch the fireworks? But he did that. Carl was also, as many of you know, a very good athlete. He shared his love of sports with me. At age 6, he taught me how to play handball. At age 7, we had a pool table in our basement. He taught me how to shoot pool. In fact, he designed me my own pool stick, and we called it Shorty. By age 9, he took me to the local park, and I was putting golf with him, and he created my own golf stick. Now, golf I still play today. We also spent many years, if you remember, doing the erector sets. In most recent years, Carl and I would chat often on the telephone and speak about our children, restaurants, politics, Florida life. Carl was also a caring, very caring son to our parents, Louis and Louise Cohen, who died in 2004 and 2008, respectively. He traveled often to Florida to visit them in their retirement community. He was very caring to them as well. Carl was also a very good uncle to my 2 daughters, Alana and Stephanie, who are here today. We spent many Thanksgivings with them together, including some Jewish holidays. He helped my younger daughter with her college essay, which contributed to her acceptance to Cornell University. Carl was also a very thoughtful brother-in-law to my husband, Mark. Although they did not always see eye to eye politically, they really enjoyed golfing together in Florida. In fact, while Carl was in the hospital, he messaged Mark and said, "When I get out, I look forward to golfing with you this summer." After witnessing the unfortunate fast decline of my brother, his health, I want to leave you with this message, something that I found on a website. And please listen to this. One day, you are going to hug your last hug, kiss your last kiss, hear someone's voice for the very last time. But you never know when the last time will be, so live each day as if it is the last time you will be with that person to love. Thank you.
So good evening. It's so good to see all of you here for Carl. So many faces that I know and so many new faces, and to see in all of your faces the same thing that I've known since I met Carl, that he touches everyone that he knows with his genuine, true nature as an empath and wonderful human being. I'm Mike Reinhardt. As Ipsit introduced me a moment ago, I have worked with Carl for some time and am now leading some of the programs at SUNY Downstate that Carl left, and it's my pleasure to be here to talk a bit about Carl today. I will say that I initially didn't think that I could do this and had declined, but I'm here for Carl and for his family and for all of our colleagues. And to Ipsit's comment, I would say not only was Carl the person you'd call and talk to about your boss, Carl was my boss, and I would still call and talk to him about my boss. He could take it. He was a real mensch, and he was built of stern stuff. I'm not in the habit of writing down my talks when I speak in public, but I thought I was going to have a tough time with this one, so I hope you'll forgive me for reading. I met Carl during residency, during PGY2 didactics, which is in the second year of residency at SUNY Downstate, second year of residency, when he was talking about geriatric psychiatry. He was presenting a complex synthesis of the epidemiologic, cultural, and public health underpinnings of the current state of late-life mental health care in the United States. And I remember vividly during that lecture thinking that I was witnessing casual excellence. So practiced and easy, and so full of passion. And excellence is a word so often used but so infrequently deserved. But it was the word I would come to think epitomized Carl Cohen in my mind. Over the remainder of my residency, I interacted with Carl sometimes, intermittently, and ended up joining his fellowship in geriatric psychiatry in 2013. And like everything that Carl did in his professional life, it was multidisciplinary, spanning all of the available professions. Carl was directing the Brooklyn Alzheimer's Disease Assistance Center, a center he had founded in the early 80s. He was ever a champion of Brooklyn's elders, and our center at the time was in the basement of a brick and mortar building on the corner of Lenox and New York Avenue, with 5 exam rooms, 2 of which doubled as our conference room. It was underlit, underventilated, cramped, and often very hot. Lord help me. But the patients and their caregivers came from all over New York for Carl. Their faith in Carl's excellence was palpable in each appointment. Students, residents, and fellows, including me, would often wait in line to get into his office to speak with Carl about their projects. City council people would appear seemingly out of nowhere to give Carl awards in our hot, smelly basement. He was a whirlwind of productivity. He helped me write my first paper, my first book chapter, and my first grants.
Your side. I think you're on mute, and we can't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
The Zoom was having trouble. I'm sorry. The first of these grants that I wrote with Carl led us to form what is now our Center of Excellence for Alzheimer's Disease. We grew that program together to include satellite centers, educational satellite programs, and an extensive network of partnerships across New York City for New York's older adults. This work led in turn to us creating a new program called the Brooklyn Initiative to Develop Geriatrics Education, or BRIDGE, with Carl as our founding director. I remember vividly visiting Carl's house. Thank you, Katie, for putting up with me until 2 a.m., writing each of these grants, staying late in his home, often writing and editing in tandem until very late at night. I remember at one point at 2 a.m. we were writing one of these grants and Carl went to take a nap, came back 2 hours later and we finished up. My graduation ceremony from fellowship was held in Carl and Katie's living room. A warm reception that symbolized truly the depth of Carl's commitment to the program and the field, bringing his trainees into the center of his life with ease and joy and good humor. At every turn, Carl's vision and excellence was obvious. Every program officer, every faculty member, look at all of us here today, every public figure that I interacted with in the presence of Carl Cohen treated Carl with a level of respect I would say bordered on reverence. News of Carl's passing spread over the past week, and I have been reminded of the breadth and depth of Carl's reach. Just today, the New York State Department of Health's acting commissioner reached out to me to ask for Katie's address, to send his condolences because of the depth of his work over years with the state's Alzheimer's Disease Advisory Council. He was working on this council right until his passing. Every waking moment of Carl's life was dedicated to his family, to his patients, and to the advancement of our field. Carl is a pillar of our field. He founded our division. He's trained over 100 fellows in geriatric psychiatry, mentoring all of them. He's trained thousands of students. He's been the recipient of over 50 research, training, and service grants, and offered well over 180 articles and many books. He's received numerous awards, naming him Educator of the Year, Psychiatrist of the Year, Exemplary Psychiatrist Award, Best Doctor in America, Best Doctor in New York, Who's Who in the World. The list goes on and on and on. And they all sum up what we all know about Carl, is that he was outstanding and exhibited excellence in every action that he took. Throughout all of these successes, Carl was always filled with energy, curiosity, and was ever a critical voice that strove for excellence and improvement. He had a profound sense of professionalism, and he always wore an ever-present smile, no matter what was happening around him. The sense of dedication and professionalism led him to continue working on his grants, his research endeavors, writing papers, and seeing patients until very close to his passing. And most of our faculty and staff did not know, would not have guessed that he was ill. Equally important to all of his academic success, Carl was a wonderful, kind, and generous human being, a dedicated father, and a wonderful friend, a human being, possessed of keen wit and a remarkable sense of humor. One of my fondest memories of Carl is watching him run down the hall at a conference center in Atlanta in 2019 with my then 3-year-old son, June. June is active and rambunctious, kind of like a young Carl, I imagine. And Carl took a liking to him immediately, calling him spirited. He ran full tilt after my son, speedy and full of energy, passing by June, laughing as he went. And my son still talks about Carl, the uncle he met in Atlanta. Carl supported my professional life through the birth of both of my children, advised me on the choice of my apartment to raise my children, mentored me through all of the current stages of my career, and was always available for a phone call to troubleshoot what was happening, any sticky situation. He was a singular presence. It's my great privilege to continue on at Downstate, building upon Carl's vision for equitable, evidence-based, and culturally informed care for those with late-life mental health struggles, Alzheimer's disease. But I have to say, no matter what the future brings for our center, that I will always miss my colleague and my friend. Thank you.